Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Concert Junkies, Rob and John. Oh, yeah.
And we're live. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, how's it going, man? I'm Jordan, the vocalist from the Lowdown Dirty. We are from Martinsville, Virginia.
I'll start off with the redundant question that you've probably always been asked.
You're good, man.
How'd you get the name?
So Jason and I, my bassist, who I believe you've been in contact with, we were living in Blacksburg. We just moved back in 2016. I was up there going to school, living, working up there. And he had moved up there. He currently manages a number of businesses, one of which is in Blacksburg. And when he came up there, he and I moved in together and pretty much decided to, like, hey, dude, let's give it another shot and continue to write music. And just a little background on, he and I, we've been playing music together along with my guitarist, Scott, since we were about 15 and we're 35 now. So we've known each other since we were kids. And when he came up to Blacksburg, we decided to give it another shot. And honestly, the name just kind of came about one day. Jason just spat it out. And I said that, first of all, I dig the name. It sounds cool, rolls right off the tongue, but also relative to our music and the stuff that we write and play and stuff, we try and make things that are as honest to us and personal to us. We give you as much of our lives and our experiences in our music as we can. And so we thought it was kind of indicative of what we were trying to do musically as well. We're trying to give you the dirt, essentially. You know what I mean?
So here comes the hard question here. Not musically.
Okay.
Personally, what do you want to leave as your legacy?
What do I want to leave as my legacy? And you said not musically.
Yes. As a person.
Wow. As a person, I mean, I would hope one day I'll have a family, I want to be able to, if nothing else, leave part of myself behind in some way. And I think family is a large part of that, having a literal legacy, if you will, you know what I mean? Leaving my stamp on the world in some way that even if no one remembers who I am or even remembers my music or what I was doing with that part of me will still be alive and living and on this planet in some way.
Now I'll give you a fun question.
All right.
Two-day festival.
Mm-hmm.
First day is female fronted. Second day is Dead or Alive.
So first day is female fronted. Second day is Dead or Alive.
Yes.
Female fronted. Man, that's actually a really good question. I think as far as female fronted groups, I'll be perfectly honest with you, it's not by design or anything. I don't particularly seek out groups based on that kind of stuff. I just kind of listen to what I think is good. I think what I've heard from Ginger has been incredibly good. Tatiana's, if I'm remembering her name correctly, is an incredible vocalist, both from a technical perspective and then also just in that raw, energetic, pure freaking metal. I'm trying not to curse. I'm trying to respect your show.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, just pure fucking metal and just power behind that voice. Let's see, man. I've really got to dig deep on the female fronted stuff. Like I said, it's not by design. I can't really think of many off the top of my head that I listen to regularly. But as far as the second day, Dead or Alive, 2-day festival, I think currently there are a couple of artists that have been in my rotation that I listen to very frequently, and I just saw one of them this past weekend in Greensboro. But Loathe would be a fantastic group to play with. Their record, I Let It In, and It Took Everything, really stole the show for me in 2020, and probably my favorite record of that year. Like I said, just saw them live this past weekend down in Greensboro at Hangar 1819, put on a phenomenal show. There's another group out of Delaware, I believe, called Vexes. Their record, it was actually a double album released called Imagine What We Could Destroy If Only Given Time. And 24 tracks, just solid gold from front to back. And I believe one of the guitarists is formerly of A Life Once Lost. And then another member is formerly of Fury of Five. But that record is probably one of my favorites of this year and is constantly making a return. They'd be another excellent group that I would love to play with. Let's see. Under Oath, I think, would be a fantastic band to have on that bill as well. Just for me, a classic in terms of, that the early days of like the post-hardcore stuff, and when I was graduating high school, 2004, 2005, and They're Only Chasing Safety is probably one of my favorite albums of all time. Man, that's a really great question. I'd have to do some more digging to give you some more on that one, I think.
All right, we can go back to that. Well, this is kind of a two-parter here.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite lyric out of one of your songs? And what is the most emotional song you put out?
Favorite lyric out of one of my songs. I think if I'm just to throw something off the top of my head, there's a song off our EP that came out last year, off a track called Blues Train Blues. And at the very end of that song, there's a line that is both very powerful and I think very personal for me, where I say, "And when you're dead, I will soon forget. The sun will set on a lonely grave. When I look back, all I feel is hate, and I count the days to forget your face." And, and also kind of plays into the second part of that question too, I guess, in that song to me is also incredibly personal. A lot of our songs are, and I think a lot of my lyrics are. Like I said, I try and put out as much that I can that is, honest and really kind of lay out my experiences throughout the course of my life, all of them, be it love, hate, heartbreak, betrayal, fun, and so, and just to recap on that second part of the question, the first one was favorite lyric, and then the second one was, again,
the most emotional song you put out.
Most emotional song. I think Blues Train Blues would certainly be up there. I also think Undergrowth would probably be in a close second, if not like right there with it.
Is it easier to write when you're not happy?
For me, it certainly is. A lot of my lyrics, and I think a lot of our music in general, is in a lot of ways motivated by the feelings that we have that aren't happiness. You know what I mean? I think, especially for me, and whether that's a good or a bad thing, it's certainly been easier for me artistically. I'm very much motivated by the things that I don't like, and I actually kind of hate in a lot of ways, or the negative feelings that I have about certain things, experiences, people, and things of that nature. So I think for myself, it certainly can be easier to write from that place. And that's kind of like a cathartic release for me, you know what I mean? Because everywhere else in my life, I try to be, the fun, happy, jokey kind of dude and try and keep it light. But, so I stuff everything else down. And so when I write and I perform, that's where I get all of that out.
Do you still get stage fright at all?
Stage fright? Yeah, sometimes. I think it depends on, the venue that we're playing, the other groups that are on the bill, and the size of the audience. I mean, generally speaking, I've kind of gotten used to it because I've been doing it for so long. But, um, yeah, every now and again, I still get the jitters. But more often than not, I think I've gotten used to performing. And actually, that's like one of the few places I actually feel like I can be entirely myself, or even be the, crazier parts of me that maybe I couldn't otherwise display without being looked at like a crazy person, I guess.
So you're happy. So your happy place is being on stage.
Oh, most certainly. Yeah. It's for me, like I said, man, it's one of the few places where I genuinely feel good about what I'm doing, and feel a sense of confidence that in other parts of my life that I don't often feel. So it's, yeah, it's certainly one of my happy places for sure.
So what age were you when you're like, I want to play music?
Um, I think when I finally, and the guys that I play with, I think we all kind of decided to start playing music. Scott, my guitarist, was the first to pick it up. His dad was a guitarist growing up in the 80s, shred master type, and used to be in a band himself and toured in the 80s and stuff like that prior to his being born. And he picked it up around 13, I think. And, as he progressed and got better, I think the rest of us kind of got it in our head that that's what we wanted to do. And so we kind of picked up our respective instruments. I always kind of gravitated toward vocals, and I always loved singing. And so I kind of took up that, and Jason, my bassist, we kind of just looked at each other and it's like, well, if I'm doing vocals and he's doing guitar, then, we need to start the rhythm section. And so Jason picked up the bass, and I think we have started taking it seriously and started writing officially when we were probably 15, I think. So 20 years ago, yeah, a little more than 20 years ago.
So what kind of kid were you in high school? Like, were you the popular, the nerd, the band geek, the football player?
I can definitely tell you I was not the football player. As hard as Coach Stone tried back in the day, I never got around to playing sports. Uh, I was and still am the nerd. I play video games. I read comics. I still watch cartoons, and so I still read books and other than comics. And I was also I got along with most everybody. I didn't really have too many people in high school that I couldn't walk up to and have a conversation with. But I didn't. I wasn't like the popular kid, the preppy kid, I guess, to that extent. But I also kind of gravitated toward the outcast types and the rocker kids and stuff like that. And um, so I was able to get along with everybody, and I was kind of a social butterfly of that degree. I was also kind of the class clown. I had no issue whatsoever with embarrassing myself in public for everyone's enjoyment, which I guess still holds true to this day, although I feel a little bit more shame than I used to. So it's not quite as extreme as it once was. But I think
to go back to go back to memory lane a little bit here. What
let's go.
song that you hear it immediately reminds you of high school?
Oh man, I think there's a lot. That's actually kind of like one of my favorite things about music and stuff is when I hear particular songs, I can go back to a certain place, or it reminds me of being in certain places. And in particular in high school, I think right around the time that we got active in the scene as like audience members and really started getting involved in the local scene here in Martinsville and like Danville, Greensboro, North Carolina area. There was a group called Timid. I don't know if you remember Timid, but there was also, I think there's a lot of songs that kind of take me back to high school, man. I think Swift, When People Collude, that was one of the songs that I remember listening to on repeat back in the day in senior year. And I don't know if you know who Swift is, but fantastic band. Their drummer, Jamie King, is also our producer as well, who actually did, well, hell, we've been making records with him since we were 17, 18 back in 2004. And he's just a tremendous dude, and he had a fantastic band. So Swift's When People Collude was a great song that kind of brings me back to that day. Timid's Fair Weather brings me back to that day. All of Under Oath's We're Only Chasing Safety is like senior year for me, hardcore. There's a lot of different ones, I think, if I really stop to think about it, that take me back.
If you had to play your entire set just using a ukulele or doing a cover of a band that you dislike the most, your entire night.
Oh man, so what set? If only I could play a ukulele or cover a band that I dislike. Oh, what a wild question, dude. Thank you for that one. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. See. Okay. Yeah. Jason's back there cheering me on, telling me the band that I absolutely, and I'm going to get in trouble when I say this, but I have my reasons. Journey. I would play an entire Journey set on ukulele, and just so we're on the same page, I have no confidence whatsoever that I would even be able to sing even remotely well as Steve Perry. But you know what? Fuck it. I'll just intentionally butcher it just to have fun with it.
But don't stop believing, though.
Yeah, dude. You just gotta keep on believing, man. You know.
Yeah.
That's what they keep telling me.
But they don't realize the word believe has the word lie in it as well. So
this is true, and it would absolutely be a lie if I said I enjoy Journey. And I know that your comment section is probably going to just roast the ever living shit out of me for saying that, but
it will at some point. But there's nobody here. Unfortunately, there's nobody here at the moment.
There's still time.
There's plenty of time. So if you could pick a song to describe you, mm-hmm. No caption, no nothing, you just send it to somebody, what song would that be?
A song that describes me.
Yeah.
Wow. That's You've certainly got me in a very weird place with some of these questions, and I dig it because this is definitely something I've never been asked before. Let's see. I'm not exactly sure why this song came up in my head when you asked me that, but for some reason, Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer is like one of the first things that popped up into my head.
Okay.
You know, I want to be your sledgehammer. You know, and I want you to call my name.
So, what type of music do you turn to, like when you're happy, when you're sad, when you just want to break shit?
When I'm happy, let's see. I'll try and tackle these one at a time. Music that are you asking me specifically, like what type of music or what bands I go to?
You can do both.
Okay.
They kind of go hand in hand. So.
Fair enough. So as far as like putting me in a happy place, the 1975 always puts me in a really great place, even though some of their music and lyrical content can kind of be on the sadder side too, which I guess could fall into the next part. But their record, it has like a paragraph long title. It's like, I love it when you sleep, for you're so beautiful, yet you are so unaware of it, or something to that effect. It's an incredibly long album title, but a lot of that record is just so good from that really like 80s bubblegum pop type of place.
I thought they were kind of emo.
I suppose you could describe some of their stuff as emo, but they definitely pull from a lot of different genres. I mean, they're definitely heavy on the pop side, but they've got a lot of stuff that I guess you could describe as like indie rock, more punk influenced in the earlier stuff. They've also got a lot of acoustic type of folk type of stuff as well. But a lot of that record I just mentioned puts me in like a really good place. And it's just, like I said, man, I'm not one to like go and seek out, 80s bubblegum pop. And I don't typically listen to that, but something about that record and the way that it was done just hit that spot in the right way. And there's also a song off that very same record called Somebody Else that if you listen to it can definitely put you in a sad place. When I'm angry and I just want to break shit, definitely think there's a lot of groups that could definitely take you there. Loathe certainly being one of them. Periphery, I think, can put me in that place as well. Let's see. Oh man, there is a Scandinavian group that I cannot think of their name right now for some reason. Why can't I do it? Yes, Humanity's Last Breath. There we go. Dude, that group, if you've not listened to them, one of the heaviest fucking things I've ever heard in my life. And it just, yeah, dude, some of that shit is like straight up the soundtrack to a murder, and I love it. And so it can definitely put you there.
This one's going to actually make you think even more. Last Supper scenario. Who's your 12 people, one female present? It could be musicians, it could be family members, it could be cartoons, don't care.
Okay, Ed, sorry, just the first part of that question again?
Last Supper scenario.
Last Supper scenario, okay.
You pick your 12, one female present, It could be musicians, it could be family members, it could be cartoons, and if you need a kiddie table, I'll give you a kiddie table.
Well, I definitely want my mom's there.
Okay.
Last Supper scenario. Pops has got to be there too. My folks. Love my folks a whole hell of a lot. They've supported my endeavors as far back as I can remember and pushed me to do things and try new things. And so I definitely want them there. Definitely got to have my boys out. Got to have the boys in the band out. So I guess that's 5 so far. So my folks, Jason, my bassist, Scott, my guitarist, Rob, my drummer. Let's see. Yeah, definitely my wife. I probably should have said that relatively toward the start of all that. She's cool. We just got married back in October, the 29th, actually. So just coming up on 2 months at the end of this month.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
Congrats.
that. She's awesome, dude. She fine as hell, and she cool as hell. We're very much into the same style of music. She's a fucking nerd. She and I play video games together, and I don't feel guilty about it. She too is also creative. She has her own business on the side as well. She crochets and makes really awesome shit, and she's doing really well with that. Super proud of her for that. But yeah, she's definitely got to be there. I'm sorry, Heather. I should have mentioned you earlier. Let's see. Who the hell else? That is such the fucked up part about that question is let's see. I suppose you did say it could be comic book characters or cartoons as well, right? You said it could literally be
or anime. I mean,
okay. Well, I gotta have Patty the Batty there since you had MMA. He just seems like a genuinely funny ass dude to hang out with. Plus, I feel like I could slam a pizza with him and not feel guilty about it either. Dude likes his food, which I don't know if you looked at me. I can definitely attest to having that same addiction, I guess. But let's see. Got to have my boy Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII, one of the baddest protagonists ever known to man. And, why not just go with his arch nemesis as well? We got to bring my boy Sephiroth into it. He'll make things interesting for certain. How many are we up to here now? Let's see. 2, my guys, my wife. Clowns. We got 8, so I guess I got to have 4 more.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Well, I guess we'll have Jesus in there too, since we're naming fictional characters. But kidding. But let's see. 3 more.
You'll have a juggernaut.
Oh yeah, the Juggernaut. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. He's in there too. And in case he gets too rowdy, we got to have Charles Xavier in there too to get his head. So, and then, why not bring out Batman too, man? Let's just go ahead and bring him out as well.
But which Batman are you going to bring out?
Are we talking cinematic or are we talking from the comics? Are we talking movies?
Either way, it's been changed over the years.
Right. Let's see.
You can come
man,
from.
Let's go with Christian Bale's Batman. If we're talking the cinematic universe, the Nolan trilogy is certainly among the top there, and I think Christian Bale certainly fucking killed that. So, and then I guess I'm one short, so fuck it, Heath Ledger's Joker. Let's bring him out.
Okay.
That's an interesting. That's a fucking party right there, dude.
But what are you serving though?
What am I serving? Oh man.
It is your Last Supper, so hopefully it's not just liquids.
This is true, although there will be some libations there to enjoy. And I did bring Jesus out, so even if there's water at the table, everybody's still able to drink. But I'm a fucking sucker for Taco Bell, dude. Mexican pizza's all round. They brought it back. It's back on the menu permanently.
Okay.
And I will fucking wreck some Mexican pizzas.
All right, I'm going to give you a break for a minute.
You're good, dude.
We can flip it around, and you can ask me anything.
All right, man. Well, hell. Well, now that I'm on the interviewer side of the table here, let's go ahead and strap in. So, where do you hail from? How old are you?
I am from New Jersey, and I'm 39.
And are you still currently in Jersey, or are you down in VA?
I'm in Jersey.
Okay. And what part of Jersey?
Middlesex County.
Okay. And where is that in, damn it, where was it that I was on tour? Shittiest place I think I've ever been to in my life. It was where the satellite campus for Temple is. And I forget the name. Yeah, they have a satellite campus in Jersey. And a group I was on tour with had performed there. The campus was really nice, but like the moment you stepped off, it was just like, holy shit, I'm gonna get fucking stabbed at any moment. And it's like that much more nerve-wracking when you're driving like a 12-passenger van with like a couple, $10,000 worth of equipment in it. And you're just like,
I mean, it could be Clifton, New Jersey, maybe.
I don't think it was Clifton. I can't remember the name.
Like, I don't remember. I mean, there's Newark, there's Clifton, there's.
Maybe it was Newark.
They might have a Newark They might have a Newark campus as well. So yeah, Rutgers has one as well.
Oh yeah, it wasn't Temple. I think it was Rutgers. Excuse me.
So New Brunswick.
Okay.
Or Newark.
Either way, I'd have to go back and look that up, man. But that place was super fucking sketch. Which, coming from Martinsville, I'm not exactly, not used to it. But so what exactly got you into the rock and metal scene, and what made you want to do what you're doing?
It was actually a conversation at a karaoke bar one night. I was talking to a buddy, and we had a conversation about something, and I go to about 36 concerts a year or more. It depends on the year.
Jealous.
And he's like, you know what you're talking about? We tried doing it together, but his work schedule never worked. And here I am 4 years later.
Well, hell yeah, dude. And so which of those groups in that genre takes you to that place where you could just wreck some shit?
Okay. I'm a huge Korn fan, so probably I always have a soft spot for Blind.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's probably one of the songs to wreck shit.
Yeah,
I was like an 80s, 90s kid, so like my range of knowledge is even up to today. Like normally alternative to heavy metal to I don't know what the hell you just said to me, screaming and
right. And who are some of the groups that are out now that you think are kind of pushing the boundaries and moving the genre forward and taking it to newer places and doing things that maybe other groups aren't doing, or stepping off the beaten path?
I mean, there's like I listen to a lot of things, but like I see big things with. I hate dropping names, but I see big things with Forever May Fall. I see big things with Dying Oath. I see big things with Septus. Like they're all underrated. Like I mean, I can see big things coming their way in next year coming.
Yeah, I mean, Dying Oath. I mean, they've been able to make their way onto Blue Ridge, which is certainly a big deal for groups in this area or for any level for that matter. So certainly, yeah. And so I'm trying to think. You hit me some curveballs, dude. I'm trying to hit you with some curveballs here.
That's all right.
Absolute favorite guilty pleasure song and or style of music, like shit that you would not admit to anyone else until now that you listen to and enjoy.
I have no shame, and I will admit it. I've been listening to Sam Hunt lately and his country.
Sam Hunt. I don't know if I've heard any of his stuff. I'm not. I try and take in as much as I can from as many places as I can, but newer country and like newer hip hop are kind of like the only two that I haven't really been able to find a lot of.
If I'm listening to rap, like it depends on my mood what I'm listening to that day. Like honestly, I even have a Spotify playlist of almost everybody I've interviewed on. That's what I wake up to every morning.
Sweet.
It could be one day it'll be you, one day it's somebody else, whatever the case may be. But if it comes down to rap, I like Jelly Roll, and like
been seeing a lot of him recently.
But I'm saying like I go all. I would sooner pop on NWA to Wu-Tang to. I was a '90s kid, so
yeah, same.
Like, yeah, I would go back to my we've all had a rap phase. We all had grunge. I'm saying like I just pop on. I just put up what do you call it, '90s alternative, and whatever pops on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. And in fact, a lot of those groups you mentioned, especially like in the hip hop and stuff, that's kind of what I always find myself going back to when I get in the mood to listen to it.
I'm not going to do it on air, but I still remember all the words to "Murder Was a Case" from Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
like word for word, if I had to.
Yeah, with the exception of a few, I'm sure. But
so some words that I would never say, but yes,
yeah, naturally,
yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm right there with you on that one, man. Certainly, Snoop, Dre, Rakim, Big L, KRS-One, LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes, Wu-Tang. Eminem. I mean, can't ignore that dude for certain. Yeah, dude, those are definitely a lot of in that genre that if I find myself in the mood to listen to it, I kind of go back to that place as well. But so if you had to choose between Oprah Winfrey and Rosie O'Donnell, but they both have yeast infections, we're going for it.
We're going Oprah.
Oprah. Hey,
you get a car. You get a car. You get a car.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Like if you're gonna put that on the table, yeah, Oprah.
Yeah, if I'm getting a yeast infection, I'm getting a car, most certainly. Everybody gets a car and a yeast infection. We're going there.
And
that was the right answer.
I mean, you're gonna pay the tax on the car anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
nothing's free, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you hit it right, she might pay that for you too. I don't know.
Yeah, spin the wheel.
Oh, lordy, lord. We went there tonight, man.
Oh, we go left every episode anyway. No, it's going to be really bad on the 21st.
On the 21st of this month?
Yes, major Christmas party.
Oh, yeah? Throwing down?
7 bands, 3 podcasters.
Oh, shit. Okay. So, yeah, you've got a lot to organize and get down and stuff, so.
Yeah, we have Fran from Savage Ladies of Metal. We have Sebastian from the Loud Spot. Carbon Stone, Anoxia, Dying Oath, Forever May Fall, The Coursing, and Septis.
And The Coursing, their last single, man, was really great.
And 50 Flies is going to be there as well.
Nice.
So all the homies, all one roof.
Yeah, sounds like you've got quite a shindig, man, playing for the 21st, dude. And it's got to be a pretty big undertaking as far as like getting all of the.
We'll all be together at 7:00 Eastern.
Nice. So, when you do your interviews and whatnot, like, do you dive headfirst into the people that you interview, or are you kind of coming into it with a fresh perspective, or coming in blind to it, or are you diving in headfirst and doing your research and homework, as it were, and all that?
I mean, you would think I would do more per se research. I'll be honest, and I've said it plenty of times, I listen to one song only, and I
like
do
from
things
from the groups that you interview.
Yeah, every artist I listen to one song only, and your music speaks for itself. I want your fans to know you as a person,
dude. And I appreciate it. And
like, I ask, maybe if I have a question about a song, I ask a question about the song. I make sure I mention one of your songs, so the viewers can look you up afterwards.
Sweet. And for us, what was the tune that you happened across for us?
Honestly, we talked about it earlier. Blue Train.
Blues Train Blues. Yeah. So that's that was off the latest EP. And you can be 100% honest. What was your impression?
I really liked it. I don't sugarcoat anything. I really liked it. I like when at first you don't know where the song's going to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's that one was certainly kind of on purpose. We kind of, I guess, start in this kind of, and it's kind of implicit in the lyrics and stuff, and kind of what we're talking about and who we're talking about in that song. It kind of like, you feel like you're coming to out of a stupor right at the beginning with the guitar and the bends and that fade in and stuff. It kind of like puts you in this wonky, I'm waking up out of a stupor place, and then bring in the groove and hit that bluesier kind of a chorus. And then by the end of the song, Jason just kind of smacks you in the face with this overdrive and distortion, and is just like pounding it home, and it gets as heavy as I think that song deserves to get. So it was definitely done on purpose. And yeah, we kind of we try to take people different places. We try all of us are kind of like eclectic in terms of what we listen to, in terms of what we like to write and what we like to perform. So it's kind of, I think if you listen to us, and even in that song in particular, I think you can kind of understand that that's kind of who we are. And you might be able to point to specific genres or whatever, but I'm hoping that what we're doing is at least like different enough and original enough that you won't be able to point and say they sound like them or they sound like this person or that person.
Okay, well, speaking of that, who have you heard people say you sounded like?
We have gotten some references before. I think the most common that we've gotten have been Every Time I Die, and I've heard people say Glassjaw. Um, both of those groups are certainly big influences of ours, and in fact, Glassjaw's record, "Worship and Tribute," is probably like in my top 10 albums of all time. Just and that was when they were on. I think they were still with Warner Brothers back then, and so that was like their first and I think their only like majorly produced record. I think everything they've done after that has been independently produced. Um, yeah, or Roadrunner. Yeah, I think they were either on Warner Brothers or like a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. But we've gotten some of those references before, and I certainly could understand that reference. Um, but again, I'm hoping that what we're doing is at least different enough that we're able to kind of separate ourselves from everything else that exists. It's very much intentional. We're trying to color outside the lines, because at least in my opinion, I think music now with like the proliferation of streaming services and all of that stuff, and as great as of a tool as it can be, that every Joe Blow can have a record and be able to distribute it worldwide. It is a tremendous tool. But in the same rate, like, it's like the market is just completely oversaturated now. So I think one of the hardest things to do is find a way to differentiate yourself from everything else that exists out there in that space. So
this kind of leads into my next question here.
Okay.
What do you want to change in the industry? Like, I know it's probably going to be. I know it's probably going to be a laundry list.
I was
but
about
I'm just
to say,
saying.
how much fucking time do you got, dude? What I would like to change about the industry? Well, I mean, bro, like I said earlier, as great of a tool I think social media and streaming services can be, I think it has saturated the market so heavily that, I mean, without coming up with some kind of a way, whether musically or in your image or whatever, you really kind of have to go out of your way in some shape or form to separate yourself from the like millions of other bands that that exist out there, and a good number of them are great, but also there's a lot of like, I think with every kind of like era of music or every new genre that comes forward, you kind of get like those couple of groups that kind of spearhead the movement and kind of pioneer the sound, and then it starts picking up steam, and then everybody else is like, let's do that. And so then you have the million other copycats, or like shameless, like a lot of shameless emulation going on, but I think I would certainly change how much those artists that are on these platforms get paid based on their numbers and stuff like that. I would certainly change that. I also, as far as the industry, I mean, dude, there's all kinds of stuff, man. This is one of the most, if not the most bloodthirsty and fake industries I think you could possibly get involved in. There are so many people who are out here willing to blow smoke up your ass and tell you how great they think you are, and be grinning through their teeth while saying it and don't mean a single word of it, or they're only saying it in hopes that they can kind of like surf off the popularity or the notoriety that you may be garnering for yourself. And so there's a lot of people out here who just blow smoke up your ass and are just phony, fake. And, you know, and I would also just I would like to the rock and metal side of things to get back to this like place where it was like, you know, fuck you, I'll do what I want and I'll say what I want. And, you know, I think as it stands right now, man, like there's been a complete like attitudinal shift over the 20 years that I've been doing this, whereby, you know, when I first started playing music and first started attending shows and stuff, it was the general attitude, I think, was that of, we don't care who you are, we don't care where you come from, we don't care about your background, we don't care about any of the meaningless descriptors that you choose to assign to yourself or whatever. As long as you want to roll through and you want to play some good music or you want to listen to some good music, you want to fucking party, you want to have a good time, let's fucking go. Like that was the general attitude. But like, it seems in the last like 20 years.
And
sorry, I lose you there, bud.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sorry.
No, we're good.
But yeah, it seems like there's been a complete attitudinal shift in that, like everyone is just so afraid to be critical or be honest, or there's so much of this. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Everybody got so offended.
That's certainly part of it.
No, generation to generation. I mean, I had a conversation about this the other day. It's the generations gap. What do you call it? I said orange. Oh, he said orange when he meant to say blue. You know, like people nowadays, people get offended over nothing. And honestly, everything's always been a freaking numbers game. Everything in your life is a numbers game. Your social security card is a number.
Mm.
You punch into work, you have a number.
Mm.
Number of followers, number. Number of streams. It's always been a numbers game. It's just it's pretty much just how you use a calculator to see where you go.
And that kind of, I guess, winds me back around to another thing that I would change about the industry is musicians aren't just musicians anymore. We are sketch comedy writers. We are social media marketing experts. We're videographers. We're cinematographers. We're photographers. We are IT. I mean, not that we're multimedia producers of all shapes and forms. And not that these aren't valuable skills to have. I mean, they, you know, dude, if you want to exist now as a band, you absolutely, unless you've just got a fuck ton of money lying around to throw at these things, you have to be all of those things. You have to be a recording engineer. You have to be able to mix and master and edit. You have to be able to cut and edit video. You have to be able to put all of that shit together.
Yes, it's a business.
Well,
you should, as a business, you go, say you work at McDonald's, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start off at drive-through. Eventually, you're going to learn how to use the fryer. You need to know everything in the business.
Most certainly. And again, not that that's like a bad thing inherently, but it most certainly takes away from the money, time, and effort that you could be using to focus on your writing, your performing.
No, No
and all
sleep
of that
for
stuff.
there's no sleep for the wicked. You want this. You have to do this to get this.
That is,
There's no silver spoon coming towards your mouth. Go chew chew. All
yeah,
right. So you want something. There's always going to be obstacles, right? You jump over
yeah. I
them.
mean,
You go across them. You go through them. I
yeah,
mean,
you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to adapt and understand that is part of the game now. And you can either adapt and move with the times and get with the program.
or you get stuck where you were, and that's where you're going to stay.
Right.
This is not back in the day that we went to Kinko's. Remember Kinko's,
Yeah.
guys, and made 162 flyers
And
and
walked around town throwing them
walked
up.
around town, put it in shop windows. Oh, they're not looking. Let me put it on their dash.
Yeah, I
No,
mean, it's certainly not. And, where, my guys and I had been doing it for so long. I mean, back in 2004 and 5, when we first started playing, it wasn't uncommon for groups who, maybe had a great live show, but didn't even have a record or didn't have merchandise, were able to catch the attention of these smaller independent labels, and then word of mouth travels, and then before you know it, you're playing a gig and some A&R dude from like Victory Records walks up to you after you finish your gig or sends you an email or whatever, and you could very well be on your way to getting signed to an independent label, get the funding you need to go on tour and be on like a 90-day mini tour to showcase the new groups that they picked up. And that's just not how the game works anymore.
no, and it's not. It's not. I mean, that's not how it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest with you. I go to karaoke. I go to karaoke sometimes just to see if there's new talent out that I can grab now before they go on American Idol or somewhere so they could be seen.
Yeah, which I have my thoughts on those programs too.
I mean that's another story. But I'm just
Right.
saying. I'm just saying the fact that you need to be seen. Go to other people's gigs. Talk to people. What is it to go to support your local scene? $10. Oh, it's a Saturday night. The Wiggles are playing. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You should be the first one in at a show. You should be the last one out. I used to catch crap for why are you going to the show so early? They don't go on until 10. I want to see the opener. I don't know who the opener is.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen an opener and look at them now? I saw Bad Flower before they were anything. I saw a few other bands before they were where they are now for $10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like I never understood that. Oh, we're just going to say Kill Switch when Kill Switch is over, we're leaving.
Yeah, and I certainly understand where you're coming from, and for me, I don't necessarily, if people aren't interested in what I'm doing, or maybe I make music and we play music for
Yourselves.
ourselves, and then more importantly, the people who also listen to it and really enjoy it. And I'm not trying to inflict it upon anyone else that maybe doesn't want to hear it or whatever. So when we go out to play and stuff, I understand that it's my job as an entertainer to provide people the reason that makes the $10 they spend at the door worth it. You know what I mean? Like it's incumbent on me to make that $10 they spent to get in worth it, So I'm kind of like, with that perspective, kind of like on the fence a little bit, I guess, because I understand perfectly well where you're coming from. And I certainly think for those who are busting their ass and writing great music and putting on a great show and all of that stuff, like absolutely they deserve recognition. But I think the flip side to some of that sometimes can be that, we kind of give the impression maybe that it's as easy as saying, I'm going to pick up a guitar and I'm going to step on stage. Now everybody needs to come out and see me.
Oh no, I mean,
I just don't want to give that impression, especially to like, newer guys who are maybe just getting started and just cutting their teeth.
Definitely. That's not an attitude to go into anything.
Yeah, because
stay humble, my friend. That is not, what do you call it, the attitude to come into anything.
Yeah,
it's more the fact of, as somebody that's an average concert goer, I make sure I'm there for the first. I'm there for the last. If I might have something happens and I have to, there's a line or I get there late for some reason, traffic or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I'll catch you the next time. But I mean,
yeah, like I said, I understand perfectly well where you're coming from, and for me, like I said, supporting the scene is like you're talking about. It's being out at these gigs and it's interfacing with people and networking, and being there for as much as you can be. And obviously, people that come out to the shows or people that play shows, life happens. People got kids, wives, jobs,
exactly.
all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm certainly not mad if somebody can't make a gig for whatever reason, or even, like I said, I don't require that people come out to see my guys or my performance if it's something that they're genuinely not into or whatever. I think it's a great thing in one regard, but I also see the flip side of it where it can also kind of like maybe create this attitude of entitlement with some people where they, like I said, it's as simple as like, I decided to pick up a mic. Now everybody come out to see me because I exist on a stage with an instrument. And, so I just worry that with some people, maybe that's the attitude that kind of nurtures, I guess, or kind of cultivates to some degree. So I'm just kind of careful with that kind of outlook on it, So
yeah.
But as far as like anything else that like I would like to change about the industry, I mean, like I said, dude, I think we could probably be here all night, going back, back and forth about stuff like that. But
we can do that another night.
Yeah.
I'll put you on the round table with everybody else. I'm thinking about doing that one night, but stay tuned for that one. It'll be a 2-hour episode, but different topic at this moment. What was the best advice you were ever given?
As far as being in music or just
in life, it don't matter. Something that sticks with you on an everyday basis.
Oh man, I think, and it's only something that I think I've only understood really in the last couple of years. But my dad, who I admire greatly, he's just a solid dude all around. Grew up on a dairy farm out in Franklin County, worked his ass off every day from 5 a.m. until whenever. And, no college degree, worked his way up through, furniture manufacturing, all the way up to now what he's doing, and is one of the most successful, hardworking, and just all around good people, and I say that, just not just because he's my dad, but just because he's one of the few people in my life that I see that genuinely exemplify something that I want to be. And some of the advice he gave me that like I said, I think I've only really started to understand in detail in the last couple of years is life is much bigger than you. And, if you go through life always concerned about your happiness and these momentary flights of fancy and impulse and impulsive pleasures and all of that stuff, then eventually you kind of like just go down this black hole of, constantly seeking out that momentary pleasure. And you can go down as deep and as far as you want. That hole never ends, and it just continues to be as deep and as dark as it was when you started. So understanding that life is bigger than yourself and finding something in your life to dedicate yourself to that is outside of yourself, whether that be your family, your friends, community service, creating art with other people and the collaborative process that comes in working with other people and learning those skills, just finding something to dedicate yourself to that is outside of yourself and deriving purpose and meaning from that, and not always being so self-involved and self-absorbed. I think that's probably some of the best advice I think I've ever gotten. And like I said, I think I've only really come to understand it to a great degree in the last couple of years.
My last question of the night before we plug everything that's going on next year.
Sure.
Do you have any messages for your fans?
Well, messages to my fans. If I would say anything to my fans or just anyone in general, is that persevere, man. Just times are tough right now for so many people. And, be it economically, be it, dealing with the last couple years and COVID and the lockdowns and working from home or losing your job or this, that, and the other. And try not to focus so much on the things in your life that make it difficult. If, to the best of your ability, try and find those few moments, those few people, those few things that genuinely bring you joy and bring your life meaning, and grab hold of those things and do your best not to let go of them, because shit's rough out there for everybody. And that would be something I would tell my fans, most certainly, or anybody in general.
So what do you have planned for next year?
As far as next year, so right now we kind of wind down for the end of the year and preparing for the holidays and all that stuff. But this upcoming year, we're already in the process of getting back to writing. We want to put out some new material. We put out the last 2 records. We played a good number of shows. We didn't play as many as we would like to, obviously, with COVID and everything. But we want to get back to writing new material. Hopefully putting out a new record at some point. I don't know whether we've decided to go with, go the full length route or go the EP route or crank out singles. That seems to be the route that a lot of people are going. But either way, we want to get some new music out. We're in the process of writing. We want to get to creating new ideas for the videos that will be associated with all of that, and getting all of the associated content, if you will, up on our YouTube channel. Like I said, I'm in the process of getting the last few pieces of equipment and getting my podcast up and rolling. So I'm hoping to have that up relatively soon.
Do you have a name for that yet?
Yeah, it's just going to be the Lowdown Dirty Pod.
Kind of sounds dirty.
I like to think so.
Sounds very dirty.
Yeah, and low down of the lowdown variation.
Exactly.
But yeah, and something kind of my original plan was I originally had it kind of the format where I was going to have people on, in the industry, be it performers, producers, engineers, photographers, videographers, any of the people that are related to the industry in some way, or even just in music. I was going to have them on and kind of ask them questions that may or may not be embarrassing or personal in nature, and I had this kind of format that kind of involved maybe eating some hot sauce or something if they chose not to answer questions. Then the more I thought about it, I was like, that seems a little too cheesy pie. So I think what I'm going to do is just have people on that I've worked with and collaborated with over the years, and just talk about their journey through music in general, or being a part of the industry, the good, the bad, the ugly of it, and wherever else the conversation might lead us. But that's something I have planned for this upcoming year as well. So
That sounds good.
we're on the way, man. We're on the way.
So you can be followed on Facebook and
Yes. Yeah, we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, Twitter. We've also got YouTube, TikTok. All of our music is available on every streaming platform, Spotify, Apple Music, the whole bit. So all of our music is available there. We've got all of that other stuff available as well. And obviously, as throughout this upcoming year, we're going to be revamping a lot of that stuff and putting out a lot more content and stuff too. We've kind of wound down toward the end of the year and preparing for the holidays and stuff, and giving everybody a little bit of a break and kind of recharge the batteries a little bit. But yeah, this upcoming year, we're going to have new music out, going to get the pod up and rolling. We still got the YouTube channel up, a lot of good stuff there, especially if you're into the musical technical side of things, the playthrough videos and all of that stuff, which I think are really cool. And so we've got a lot of stuff up there. And yeah, just this upcoming year, man, we're just going to get back to writing, put out some new stuff, get all the content rolling, and hopefully everyone will dig it.
So just a reminder, this is going to be on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so. We'll be doing a mystery music box giveaway when we hit 1,000 subscribers. You have to be in it to win it, and you can't be crying if you didn't hit that red button.
Absolutely not. And Rob, dude, thank you so much for having me on, man. It was actually a really good conversation. I appreciate it, man.
I hope you have an amazing holiday, and good luck next year with everything.
Dude, I appreciate it, man. Same to you and yours, man. You have a Merry Christmas and all that good stuff, man.
You have a great night.
Later, dude.